Next up, we have Japan versus Vietnam in Group D. Bro, game of the tournament so far.
Yeah, it was 5 goals in the first half. And at a point when we needed goals because the previous match day 2, very little goals. And we'll get into that in a second. But the game starts off with an electric pace. Japan go at Vietnam. But even within those first 5-10 minutes, Vietnam showed that they were actually here to compete too. But Japan get on the board first, right past that 10-minute mark. And actually, similar to the Iran game, I thought Japan were then going to open up the floodgates and start scoring 2, 3, 4 goals. But no, dude. Instead, Vietnam settled down the game and ended up equalizing with one of the craziest headers I think I have seen in a long time.
What was that, bro?
What a crazy goal. A looping, flick, glancing header. One of the likes that I just honestly have never seen. What a goal for Vietnam to equalize. And at that point, I was like, okay, we got a game right now. 1-1. 15 minutes later, Vietnam take the goddamn lead. 2-1. And I thought Suzuki kind of messed up here. He kind of fumbled the ball a bit, and it puts it right into the path of an on-rushing Vietnamese player who says thank you very much, and he puts it back in the back of the net, 2-1. Japan, all of a sudden, find themselves 2-1 down against Vietnam.
Yep, I thought that goalkeeping decision there was questionable, bro. He could even just let it go, and I don't think the Vietnamese player would have gotten there, but that slight, soft tap he got on it was the worst thing he could have done. Vietnam goes up 2-1, and you could feel that momentum shift in the stadium. Sure, it wasn't like sold out, but that Vietnamese presence was felt, bro. You could hear them in the stands, and they were getting excited, bro. The commentator even was like, a little bit in shock. Like, what are we seeing right now? We're seeing the title favorite go down to one of the weaker teams in this tournament. Vietnam showed up in a miraculous way, I think, up until this point, executing what I thought was a really good plan. Scoring 2 goals off of set pieces, but then playing with a fearlessness and then having organization at the back that, at the very least, forced Japan to work hard for their goals. You could see that Japan was trying out different ideas, bro, trying to figure out which way to get this Vietnamese team, and it was taking them a good amount of work until ultimately, I think it was Endo assisted Minamino, who's been on fire so far, and had a beautiful nutmeg finish into the bottom right corner to tie the match up 2-2. Once that goal went in, though, you could feel it, bro. It killed Vietnam, man. Yeah. It killed them.
Yeah, right before the half, too, man. They just couldn't hold on to the lead. Japan equalized, and then they kind of just pour even more salt into the Vietnamese wounds because they actually get the lead right before halftime. By the way, though, a brilliant curling effort from Nakamura to make it 3-2 at
goal
that
of the
moment.
tournament.
Oh, yeah,
goal
gorgeous, bro. It was a gorgeous goal.
Yeah, beautiful goal. And then after that, the second half was pretty much all Japan. Takefusa Kubo comes on, gets an assist in this match, and it's 4-2. Japan wins this game. So I think it's interesting. It's interesting to look at both sides. I think Vietnam is a very, very good team after the showing they just put on for us. But then Japan showing that maybe they weren't at full strength. They didn't have the best starting lineup that they had to their abilities. And yeah, they were down 2-1 at one point, but they still in the game with 4 goals, bro. Like, that's what's crazy. And what was ultimately a shaky match for Japan, they score so many goals once again and show why they're title contenders.
That's what's crazy about this match specifically is that I thought Vietnam played pretty much a nearly perfect game from their perspective. I don't think they could have played any better, yet they still lost the match 4-2. They just could not contain the Japanese offense over the course of 90 minutes. It's a really tough task to do. Vietnam, I thought, really didn't make that many mistakes either, but just the pure, sheer quality that Japan possessed, either on the field or in the bench that can come on in the second half, it's just too much. Vietnam, though, I thought this was a really promising performance and one that I think that will give them a lot of hope to go through and maybe get a really good third place finish or maybe even vie for that second place spot. I think they'll have a decent chance at it because, as you already said, and I'll kind of just echo your sentiments here, Vietnam looked very organized at the back. Not only that, though, when they did get the ball, they tried to play a little bit of footy, a little bit of nice combination in the midfield. And several times they were able to go at the Japanese backline because they're able to break that Japanese pressure in the midfield. So Vietnam, I think will see themselves going forward as, all right, we played really well today against title contenders. We can see ourselves hopefully qualifying for that next round.
Yeah, Nguyen Dinh Bach, man, that guy balled out. He had a nutmeg at one point. He was really good progressing the ball forward, and then he scored, I believe, that first goal for them. So they have good players overall, and I agree. I think if you're Iraq and Indonesia, things just got a lot tougher. There's a really sturdy and organized Vietnamese side that you have to overcome in order to make it out of this group. So it's going to be proved to be a really tough test. This group overall is going to be really entertaining to watch for the rest of this tournament.
Yeah, and just last comments on Japan. I do kind of wish that they approached it the same way that Iran did. Because I'll be honest, even though they got the goal to take the lead 1-0 at the beginning of the game, they never looked like they were completely locked into the match, which is might actually be a good thing, kind of, because that could show you the true potential that Japan has if they actually go into their last gear. Because honestly, I thought through the entire match, they kind of were just stuck in second gear.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever really pressed the issue against Vietnam, at least not the way that we've seen it. But what's so crazy is that they still scored 4 goals. So that's the scary about it, Japan. I just hope to see them go completely off, score 8. Yeah, like the type stuff, because I truly think against a really weak opponent, Japan can just score goal after goal after goal, and I want to see that. I want to see them kill their opponents simply because they can.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I'm gonna go like a 7.7 on this one in terms of match rating. It could have been higher if that second half was more entertaining, but this was all in the first 45 minutes, in my opinion. So I'll go 7.5, 7.7 range for this one.
Completely agree. The second half was pretty much done and dusted by the time it started. So I'll go 7.5 just because that first half had some really beautiful goals and was just end to end.